Wife asks for open the marriage and cheated on me. Struggling. After over 5 years saving money, my wife, 36F, and I, 37M, bought an apartment in Spain for us to move in the near future. We were super happy and planning how we would renew few things for a long time, and 5 months later. Last year my wife suggested opening the marriage for the duration of February, the month that I went to a surgery in my home country. I first rejected as it's not my thing, and after she said that was what she wanted I ended up accepting, maybe for fear of losing her, and I put some rules on place. 1 can't be someone around us, 2 can be at our house, 3 can't repeat, for we would never talk about what happened. First week off the month I did had a chance of having sex with someone else and I just didn't want to, I didn't feel like doing that, not to mention that I was finding out a lot of health issues like kidneys showing signals of failure, lumbar disc damage for life, checking for a problem on my knee and doing all the medical preparation for the surgery, and that same week she had friends that came over so she didn't do anything. On second week, about 2 days before my surgery, she told me that her friend from work had friends over his house and she offered our house for him to stay. I didn't like that, but didn't say anything to not sound jealous. I first heard about this friend December WHE. She went to his house. They invited me, but I was meeting a friend and didn't go. Their friendship went up very fast. January they already were like BFF. On my surgery day, 10 of February, this guy comes to my house. After my surgery we messaged each other and she mentioned he was in my house with her and said me to not worry about, and I said her I wasn't worried, saying, I trust you blindly. Not to mention I was with the anesthesia getting out of the body, full of morphine and painkillers, going through a lot of pain, so that wasn't something I was worried about. 11 of February. I go to my parents' house, and after a day where everything went wrong I broke down and started to message her telling that I don't want to keep the agreement, that is not something I want, that I'm happy with her and I don't want to be with anyone else, and she got kind of angry about all that conversation, telling me that she does not see her having sex with only one person for the rest of her life, and now that I don't let her anything she can't do what she wants, and when I come back home we talk about that, and I explained her that I accept that because I was afraid of losing her, to be complacent and things like that. During this conversation, I'm asking her for stop the agreement. They kissed each other. After the kiss, she got a bit shocked and went to our room alone. Next day I woke up and because I was afraid/confused, I apologized her about last night conversation and told her we could keep the marriage open as she wanted, but I added a new rule, that was I wanted to know everything she did. She gets into angry like texting saying she's confused about me blocking the agreement, unblocking it again, but adding more rules. She sent me voice notes saying that's not a big deal as was for the month. I told her that was my right and she had the obligation of telling me. She said that makes no sense because we both know that I wouldn't handle that well, and I said that was my right. If I could not handle we break up or whatever. She ends this afternoon conversation saying she does not want to talk about that. On that same night she went to a party with friends and co-workers. She came back home and we are chatting by message for quite a while, and I asked her if someone had come to our house to sleep. She's traumatized about being on her own overnight, so I was worried. And she told me her friend came home. We kept some more conversation and gave good night to each other, and they start to have sex in the sofa and end in the guest room. Somewhere in middle of February we had a conversation by phone where we spoke about the opening of the marriage, and I told her I didn't want to and I wasn't comfortable with all of that. She asked me if I had done something and I told her I had the chance but didn't do anything. She said she didn't do anything. This conversation goes anywhere. Somewhere around the end of February we had a phone call where she brings up this subject again, and we had an argument about she saying that telling me about the adventures was an absurd, and after few justification from my side I get angry and tell her to do whatever she wants and don't tell me anything because I didn't care anymore, and when I get back home we talk about the future of our relationship. Few days later on February 23rd she went to a company dinner and they all end up in the pub. She came back home alone because the friend stayed on the street close to my home. She sent me a text message saying she got home. We chatted for about 40 minutes and gave good night. That was about 4:30 a.m. After that she rang this guy and asked him to come to our house. They stayed in the sofa talking and touching each other until fall asleep. Few hours later they wake up and went to the guest room for have sex again. After that she texted me as usual around 12:30 afternoon. After that I came back to our home and our relationship was disgraceful for about 1 month. She didn't want to have sex with me at all. When we can handle this situation anymore, I open the conversation about divorce, and after I stated to cry a lot, and she suggests us to give another chance. After that our relationship went up very fast and stayed in a level that we never experienced before. Few months later she brings me to meet friends and introduced me to this friend who she had sex with. It's a very friendly and way handsome than me. He's almost 10 years younger than me. We spoke quite a lot, only 2 of us. After that my wife and I went out 2 more times where this guy was present. Middle August she went to his house once for barbecue with all friends from work in a day that I was working. At this time this guy is starting a relationship with another woman from work. End of September, after I had mine emergency surgery of gallbladder removal and was recovering, she invited me to go with her to his house for a barbecue. This guy gave me a handshake so long, looking deeply into my eyes, that I felt very uncomfortable with, so much that I never forgot. Their friendship started to get complicated as they have a lot of values differences, and she is the manager and had to report him. They ended up meeting in a pub for break up their friendship. End of November, we decide go for a baby. No doubt it's mine. We had fertile tests and pregnancy test for the whole month while doing a lot of sex while she was fertile. End of December, this guy leave the company and we get to know she's pregnant. 6 weeks ago, I involuntarily made few connections in my head and confronted her about what happened between them in February, and she confessed to me everything. Now I'm struggling a lot to deal with all this. She showed me her texts with him. January, they had some conversation where he was calling her MILF. She's about 7 years older than him. Where she just laughed. They didn't need talk over messages, they worked together, and WHE things was happening. He was in my house. She deleted all Instagram messages from February and back. Only thing left was irrelevant conversation. She asked for open the marriage. Against my heart I accepted, and not satisfied with that, she broke all the rules except the no disclosure one, the only one that was convenient to her. In the same day I basically begged to stop all this story was the day she did something while telling me she wasn't going to do anything.